Hello and welcome. My name is Josie, if we haven't met before, and this is my podcast all about my makes. Mostly knitting, but some other things. Although I think today is only knitting. But I have some very exciting finished objects that I'm excited to show you, and feeling super inspired at the moment by all the Advent things and blankets, which is abnormal for me. I don't normally knit blankets, but I've been inspired by blankets, so I'm excited to share with you everything I've been working on the past few weeks. We'll start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Harlow Sweater V-neck by Kadri. It's a I've talked about this before as a finished object in one of my other podcasts, so I'll link it, but it's very cozy. This is the perfect time of year to wear it, where it's like 40s, low 40s in the morning and low 60s during the day. I just love it. And I'm currently 28 weeks pregnant, and because of the split hem, it still fits. It's getting close to not fitting, but it still fits, so I'm really enjoying it. But let's jump in with the biggest finished object, which is my shawl. I finished it. I am leaving for Texas tomorrow as I film this. And I wanted to get it done before Texas because it's such a big project, I didn't want to bring it. It would just take up so much space in my luggage, but I really wanted to get it done. And I got it done. So it looks the same. It looks the same as I have been showing, but now the rectangle has been folded in half and then seamed. Maybe 10 inches maybe. I seamed it. So I knitted until 58 inches. It was 58 inches. And then I blocked it and it grew to 72. And my goal was to get it to 60. So I was like, oh my gosh, that is way too long. So I scrunched it all up on the blocking boards and got it to 61 inches by just scrunching it up. And it dried, and it's better now, but I forgot how much garter stitch stretches, and when I made my swatches earlier, I did not take that into account. But I wanted it to be kind of a close weave anyway, because this is meant to be a nursing cover, so I'm due February 2nd. I wanted something very happy in the winter, because I struggled with postpartum anxiety and depression last time with my first son. And going into the winter, I already don't love that season. So I wanted something very bright and happy to bring me a lot of joy as I'm walking through that season again. And so it's a nursing cover. I'll be overlaying some video footage of me wearing it so you can see it. But yeah, so I knitted it until 58 inches, and then I did the Elizabeth Zimmerman. Is that right? Let me double check my notes. Yes, I did the Elizabeth Zimmerman bind off. It was so easy. It's a sewn bind off, but it was so easy. And it's meant to match the long tail cast on. She designed it so it would match the long tail cast on. There we go. Getting to my notes page for this project. And I loved it because I did long tail cast on at the beginning. And then I did the Elizabeth Zimmerman bind off at the end. And you can't really tell which is which. I know this might not be that helpful, but you can't really tell. So they're supposed to match each other, and I thought it did an awesome job of doing it. So I dyed the yarn myself. It was inspired by my wedding photos, one of my wedding photos, and because it was hand dyed, I alternated skeins. This is a fingering weight, but I held it single. I just alternated skeins, and I used 2 full skeins and then 50 grams of the 3rd and 4th skein equally. But yeah, so the bottom of the shawl has, you can see where I like kind of alternated skeins, the twisting effect. But then the top of the shawl, how I did the top, that goes around like my shoulder part, was I slipped as if to knit. That was it. And then at the end, after it was all blocked, is when I did a mattress stitch to seam it up. So I'm so happy with it. It's so soft and squishy. I think it'll bring me a lot of warmth during the evenings and days I'm trying to nurse or, take care of a newborn. So it was so soft and cozy, and I'm so happy with it. The yarn was it was a knit Picks Stroll Fingering that I hand dyed, and I used US 6, and it is amazing. So I'm so happy with it. This is by far the biggest thing I've knitted. It was a big project, but it brought me a lot of joy to do it. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy it's done. The second finished object I have was an impromptu cast on, and it's the Dahlia Hair Bow. Look how cute that is. I wonder if I should have worn it for you guys, but yeah, I'll untie it. So I came across this as a very impromptu cast on because I just couldn't decide what to do with my advent. I was feeling very overwhelmed with what pattern to choose for my advent. So I just cast on something super easy. I used stock stash drops brushed alpaca silk in the rust colorway. I had left over from a cumulus blouse I've knitted for my sister in this color, and I'm just gonna, I think, give it to her for Christmas. I don't know if she'll like it. I think it's super cute though. I think it's really cute and soft and fuzzy. It's a free pattern, the Dahlia Hair Bow. I adjusted it. I used thicker yarn. I didn't use a mohair. Brushed alpaca silk is like a thicker yarn. But I just held it single, and then I went up a needle size from what the pattern calls for. And I also, because of that, did not go as wide. I don't have as many stitches in this thick part as she has. But it was super easy to adjust. I just kept my measurements, and it was a very fast, very much needed fast project, impromptu cast on, and I just think it's so cute. Can you imagine that in the hair? I'll put the designer's pictures up because it was the cutest thing ever, and it's free, and it was so quick. So super cute. Okay, I think the next thing is whips. Yes, I'll give you an update on my socks first. So my Treat Yourself socks, the pattern is out. I talked about this last time, but it was my first test knit that I got to do for my for a designer, Bree. Forgetting her Instagram handle, Fiber and Fern. I'll show you the first socking. This was the first sock, so it's finished. It's so happy and so Christmassy. I love it so much. But I'm not too far in the second. We only had to get the second one, or the first one, done. But I knitted about, I don't know, 1.5 inches since I showed you last, which is very exciting because I definitely am not feeling the urge to work on these too much, just with like the color work, and I'm moving my stitch marker so I can show you. But I worked on this a half hour, 30 minutes every day. That was my goal. It lasted for like 3 days. So I did about 1.5 inches in 3 days, 1.5 hours. So I'm not too upset about it. I'm bringing this to Texas with me because it's such a small project, and using it on US 1.5 9-inch circulars for the color work, and it's going it's going great. But yeah, not too much to say on that. I'll just be knitting on it slowly, and hopefully I can get it done in Texas before the Christmas season. The other sock I cast on is using this yarn, Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. I got this yarn gifted to me from Amber of A Lovely Yarn. She gave it to me. And I'm finally using it, and it is so soft. Oh my goodness. So I'm just doing a vanilla sock. The needles that I'm using were also gifted to me by a viewer named Amber, also, but a different Amber. I talked last episode about how I really enjoy knitting on 9-inch circulars, so I bought the interchangeable set by ChowGoo, but the cord was so flexible that it was just really uncomfortable to knit with, and I wondered if anyone else had that experience. But Amber emailed me and said that she had a fixed 9-inch circulars that she tried and didn't like, and offered to send them to me, and I said absolutely. It was so sweet. I was so grateful. That was just so generous, and so I cast it on this sock right away because I was excited. So I'm using yarn gifted to me by a friend through YouTube, and the needles are also gifted to me by a sweet friend through YouTube. So thank you so much, but nothing special. 64 inches. I just knitted 2x2 ribbing until I was bored, and then I switched to stockinette. So yeah, that is my vanilla sock. I'll also be bringing that on the plane. So I'll have 2 sock projects to work on the plane. One a little bit more difficult, one a bit more easy. Let's get into blankets. I, for about a week and a half, thought I'm going to design my own Advent blanket. I tried to come up with it. I had this awesome motif in my mind involving like octagons and things. But look how many swatches I made. Okay. Let's see. This was my first one. Complete failure. This is just acrylic yarn. Like I think Big Twist maybe, but I was just using it for swatches. I have the Vogue knitting, what's it called? It's not the Stitch Dictionary, but it's like the Vogue knitting basic knitting book, and it showed you how to do center out, and I just followed the instructions for trying to do a center out octagon. This was my first attempt. The middle part wouldn't close. I didn't even bind off. I just took out the stitches. Let me find my second attempt. Okay, this was my second attempt. Still incredibly roughly on the sides. But I got that to close, so I did a better cast on, but it was very roughly. At this point, I was very confused, and so I looked up online different like octagon patterns and how they started their increases and then their increase rate. And the Vogue knitting book told me to start with 16 stitches and then increase to 32 immediately, and then increase by 16 every 2 rounds. Well, that was too much. So when I looked up like different patterns, different instructions online, a lot of patterns said start at 8 for an octagon, increase to 16 in that first round, and then increase by 8 every other round. But I really wanted to do a make one, left make one right, like paired increases, and I wanted that like center line, and so I started off at 8, following that different pattern, or like different, it wasn't a pattern, it was like just how do you knit center out kind of motifs. So I started with 8 and I increased it to 16, so this part looked a lot better. But then I was increasing by 16 every other, so I still had that ruffle, and it still wasn't great. So then I just did it according to I just forgot all the Vogue instructions, and I did 8 by, increased my first round to 16, and then I did 8 increases every other round. Is that right? No, that's not right. That was my second to last swatch. This is what I did. That was the increasing by 8 every other round, so I got like kind of a swirly effect, and I just used left lifted increases instead of the make one left, make one right paired increases like I wanted to use. But I got a flat laying, no ruffly swatch. That was very exciting. So then the next morning I did this one, and I was trying to, I thought, okay, I'll keep the same increase rate, but I'll do it over 4 rows instead of 2. So I'll increase by 16 every 4 rows instead of 8 every other. And it worked. But I was really unhappy with these. With the make one, like with the increase lines. So then I figured out, I did a swatch in the round to figure out how could I get, if I was increasing only every 4 rows, how could I get this line? And I figured it out just by slipping every other row and then knitting. So I got it. I would pair these two together to get my octagon. But by this point, I was so like, no, I don't want to do this. I was done trying to, the fervor of having to design my own blanket wore off because it wasn't working. So I scratched that idea, but I did want to show you all that knitting I did. I scratched that idea and came across the Cozy Memories blanket. And I have my first little square. It makes me so happy. Look at this. It's so tiny. So I'm not using a pattern for this. There are several awesome patterns and free patterns on Ravelry. And I did consult a lot of different patterns, but I kind of meshed them up to make squares that I wanted. So I wanted them to be smaller. Really, I really wanted to knit or crochet the Battenberg blanket by Sandra Paul. I think that is stunning. I think that is a stunning blanket. But I don't enjoy crochet that much. I don't think I would enjoy crocheting all those squares to make that big of a blanket. I can make the blanket smaller, of course, but so I thought, okay, I could do the same thing with the Cozy Memories blanket. I could do the color with the white, you know, around it, color, kind of that same pattern, but just use Cozy Memories squares. So, kind of meshing into my Advent plans, I think I'm going to knit the Advent wrap. I think that's what it's called. The smallest size. I'll put a picture up. But I think that would be really cozy come postpartum and really colorful. My husband gifted me the Leap of Faith Advent yarn pack. And so I think I'll do the Advent wrap. That's my main Advent project. I think that would be very happy, very colorful. I don't know exactly what the colors will be, of course, but I think that would, I'm most excited about that. But I still really wanted to do a blanket. I really wanted to do the Cozy Comfort Throw. That was a high up on my list, but I didn't want to have to hold the Advent yarn with a white and kind of diminish the colors of the Advent yarn. I just wanted them to be there on their own. So the blanket was kind of out of the question for the Cozy Comfort Throw. I could have done, there's like a few chevron patterns that I found, but I don't know, just didn't call my name. And of course I could have done a wrap all on its own using the yarn, but I didn't really want a shawl or a wrap. So my heart was desiring a blanket. So I thought of the Cozy Comfort Throw. I thought of what's the other one? Sweet Shop blanket. It's popular with like Advents. And there's one other that I was really considering. anthology throw. The square one, not the circle one. But in the end, I was like, no, I think I need to stick with the Advent wrap. I think I would love that in the winter this year. And then I can take the leftovers and make some little squares along with like white squares and start on a Cozy Memories blanket. And then Amber from A Lovely Yarn messaged me and said that she would love to send me a homemade advent calendar. So I'm gonna get another advent calendar. And it was just the sweetest timing, perfect timing. It had been a few hard days pregnancy-wise and getting some testing done and results back, and everything is fine, which I'm so grateful to God. But it was a few hard days, and she sent me that message, and it was just, I felt the love of God through her and through her generosity and through Amber, who sent me the needles. And yeah, I was just so grateful, touched, and loved. I just felt so loved and cared for by God through such kind people. Yes, so I'm going to do the Cozy Comfort throw with the homemade advent calendar that Amber's going to send me. So I still get a blanket, and I'll slowly be working on the Cozy Memories blanket too, and I'm just so excited. So let me tell you about the square finally, but it's just leftover yarn. I don't know the yarn. It's just stash yarn. But so I want it to be quite small. My guess is it's like, I haven't measured it, but my guess is like it's 2 to 2.5 inches. So I cast it on 35 inches because I didn't want the garter decrease line that's very popular. I wanted this very stark line. So I cast it on an odd number to do that, 35. And then I did a triple center decrease, I think is what I found. I found it through a YouTube video. I'll link her video. And then for the sides, let me show you. Yeah, for the sides, I did slip as if to knit every first row, on every row, slip as if to knit, and then the last stitch of every row, purl. And it gave me these like really pretty or neat V's that I'll be picking up. It'll help me like pick up the stitches in the future, and I learned that from Polka Dot Creek. So I just took a lot of I just meshed people's way of doing Cozy Memories to make my own way, and I love it. At first I did 31 and the square was just a little bit too tiny, so I went up to 35, reknitted it, and I loved it. So I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited. It's a little, so I'll be bringing like that, and this took, with including the tails, it took 2.9 grams. So I'm going to bring about 3 grams of some of my scraps to Texas so I can like keep knitting them, because I just have been having a blast. I'm waiting on my Picks Stroll Bear, like undyed yarn, but I've sent that to Texas, so it's waiting for me there so I can start adding the squares. And then one other thing I forgot to mention about the Cozy Memories is that from Craft House Magic has a 3-part tutorial on how she knits her Cozy Memories. And she's the one that first showed me her, like the center line of how she also didn't like the garter center line and wanted something more prominent, like those decrease lines. And she does a center double decrease, and it was a little bit too fiddly for me, and so I found this other way of doing it. I think it was a triple double decrease maybe, and it just worked a lot better for me. But I am using her, she has, in her 3rd tutorial of Cozy Memories blanket, she has a handout you can use if you want to lay your squares out, not in the typical, so all the center lines are going the same direction. If you want to like have them, be like a chevron or like a radiating star. So I printed it out, and I'm going to be starting here and just kind of working my way around. She gives instructions for how to do this. Working my way around to make kind of like that, you know, radiating star shape. So I'm so excited. So I'll be taking this with me too. But, so what turned out to be kind of a frustrating fail of like not being able to figure out the Advent blanket of how I, you know, what I was designing. It turned out to be really sweet because I get to do the cozy comfort throw. I get to knit that wrap, and then I also get to start on Cozy Memories blanket. So I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled for Advent now, and I'm ready. Yeah. Okay, let me see if that's all my whips. It is. I did an order, like preparation for Advent and like measuring. I did get a pocket scale. Where did that go? Just from Amazon. It was like, I think $8. It's already been so helpful. But since I'm going to be like using my Advent yarn for several projects, I wanted a scale. So I grabbed that. That was my only acquisition. Yeah, that's my only acquisition. It's just a little yarn scale. But here, I hope you don't mind. But, okay, I'm about to show Leap of Faith. I mean, I'm not going to show you the yarn, but I'm going to show you, like, day one package. If you don't want to see it, because you haven't received your box or something, look away. But, yeah, so I got day one, and I'll be traveling, like, I'll be in Texas for the beginning of December, and so I grabbed all the days that I would be in Texas, and I like put them in a bag, so they're in my bag. So they'll be there, so I can have them. I'm just so excited for the Advent season. I feel so blessed, and I am so excited. Speaking of Advent, this will probably be my last podcast because I don't think I'll be able to film. Like, I'm not going to bring any of my filming equipment, so I won't be able to film while I'm in Texas. So it's probably be my last one until I get back, and we're there for a little over 3 weeks. But I've been considering Vlogmas. Let me know if you guys enjoy Vlogmas. I love Vlogmas. I've always enjoyed watching people's Vlogmases. It's such a cozy time of year. It just adds to the coziness of it. But again, I don't have, you know, my camera. I'll be with family for the beginning of December. And so I've been thinking about doing like YouTube shorts for Vlogmases. So like really short kind of snippets. Last year I just took the month off of YouTube. I didn't post, I didn't watch anything, just to prepare for the Advent season, because I'm a Christian, and so I just wanted that to really reflect on Jesus and his birth that was coming up. This year, I don't, since I'm going to be taking a break, like once baby gets here in February, I don't really feel the urge to take a break. So I'm just thinking about maybe doing like mini vlogs, is what I've been imagining, and daily or every other day filming and posting it as a YouTube short. So yeah, I mean the max that a short can be is 3 minutes, so it wouldn't be, you know, super cozy. I would make it cozy, but I would try to make it cozy, but just showing life, just little snippets. That's kind of where I'm thinking, because I want to document this time. It's like the last Christmas before my next son gets here, and I think it would be really fun, and my first time having like an Advent calendar. So yeah, thinking about doing it more for myself even. But let me know if you guys think that's a good idea, or you don't care about Vlogmas, or yeah, like would you watch, you know, a max 3 minute YouTube short, like, you know, vertical short. So let me know your thoughts on that. But I did have a few favorites, non-crafty related, that I really wanted to share with you, because I think they could be really good for this like upcoming season, the holidays, as well as Thanksgiving and Christmas. The first two are recipes. So it's the world's best chili recipe, I think is what it's called. Or maybe just the best chili recipe. But it's tomato based, and it was delicious. So I'm going to link that below. I'm also going to link a white bean sausage, like pork sausage soup, because my husband and I have been loving that. And with this time of year, it turning like cold, soups have just been our favorite. I'm also going to link, so I'm I don't know. My diet is funky. I have some stomach issues that I've been dealing with for the past year and a half, and I'm on a grain-free and sugar-free diet, and it helps a lot with my stomach issues. But I found this recipe, this banana, this is like a banana chocolate chip sheep brownie thing, and it's the best grain-free and sugar-free recipe I have found. So I'm pretty sure it calls for maple syrup. I substituted for allulose. I don't know, if you're into baking and you happen to also have to eat grain-free and you know, watch your sugar, I would try this recipe because it was delicious. So I'll link that below too. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was Dazzle Dry fingernail polish. Have you guys heard of that? I'm someone who used to love painting their fingernails, but I just can't be bothered anymore. Like, it chips so fast and you have to wait so long for it to dry. So I last year I did find these stickers that, like the nail wrap stickers, that worked really well. They would last like 2 weeks, but they were just expensive. It was a one-time thing and they were kind of expensive. So I found Dazzle Dry, and I just want to show you, today is Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. Today's Friday, November 15th. I did my nails last Saturday, and look, they're still, my nails are, I like long nails, so my nails are just long. They're not fake nails, but it's just fingernail polish, and there are no chips. Dazzle Dry, it's like marketed as being non-toxic. It's marketed as like staying for up to 7 days chip free, which this is a 6-day, no chips. I'm amazed. And then another big selling point is that it dries in 5 minutes completely. And it did. Like, I painted these and then I could like whack on them, take care of my son, knit after 5 minutes. And that's amazing that I can do my nails and I don't have to do them for like an hour before I can do my favorite craft. I just had to wait 5 minutes and then I could knit. It's so fun. So I wanted to tell you, in case you have someone in your life that also likes doing their nails, to check out Dazzle Dry. They're a little bit more expensive. They're non-toxic, but I just got a mini set to try out and I love it. So those are my favorites, very random favorites, but I wanted to share them because I think they could be fun for the holidays coming up. But that's it. Such a fun episode. I was thrilled to come back here and film before I left to visit family for the holidays. So let me know what your thoughts on the Vlogmas thing, if you have any thoughts or care. Let me know if you are a blanket knitter, because I never have been, but the blankets are calling my name. I really want to knit them and have them to be so cozy this winter. So yeah, it was great to catch up with you. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're in the US and you're celebrating in just a week or 2 weeks. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'll see you back here. Even if I don't do the Vlogmas thing, if it doesn't work out, I'll be back in just a few weeks when I return home from visiting family. Yeah. So I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.